It's a controversial and important question. Are illegal immigrants more or less likely to commit serious imprisonable crimes than people born in the United States? Let's look at just facts. In a fact check of President Trump, Glenn Kessler, Salvador Rizzo, and Meg Kelly of The Washington Post contend that Trump exaggerates the link between immigration and crime. They insist that almost all research shows legal and illegal immigrants are less likely to commit crimes than the native-born population. Their alleged proof of this is a link to another article in the Post, which makes a simple but major error. It compares the number of non-citizen immigrants in prison to the total number of immigrants in the United States. This is misleading because non-citizens only account for about half of all immigrants. The other half are immigrants who have become U.S. citizens. The Post's mix-up misleadingly compares a subset of immigrants to the larger population of all immigrants, saying that state and federal correctional facilities in 2016 housed 1.3 million prisoners, of which 83,556, or 6%, were non-citizens, while the total immigrant population stood at 43.7 million in 2016, or 13.5%. A comparison of these figures shows that non-citizens are far below their share of the population when combining both state and federal prisons. Comparing apples to apples, 22.5 million non-citizens, or 7% of the U.S. population, lived in the U.S. during 2016. This is close to the 6% share of the prison population comprised of non-citizens, not far below it, as the Post claims. That 1 percentage point difference evaporates in light of the fact that the Post's source for the number of non-citizens in prison says some states likely provided undercounts of non-citizen prisoners. As the Congressional Research Service reported in 2016, until recently, the proportion of non-citizens incarcerated in U.S. prisons and jails corresponded closely to that of non-citizens in the U.S. population. But unreported incarceration data since 2013 has hindered such comparisons. Did the Post simply make an innocent mistake? Well, Just Facts alerted the Post's head fact checker and its corrections editor to this falsehood more than 9 months ago, and the article still hasn't been fixed. Moreover, such a fix would completely undermine the narrative of this fact check. The Post's own standards and ethics declare that no story is fair if it omits facts of major importance or significance. Yet its fact check does this 4 times, and in every case, the omission downplays the crime rates of illegal immigrants. First, the Post omits the fact that the incarceration rate of non-citizens drastically understates their criminality. This is because the U.S. deports masses of non-citizen criminal convicts every year, thus reducing the number who remain in the country. In the decade from 2006 to 2015, the U.S. deported an average of 150,000 non-citizens per year who were convicted of committing crimes in the United States. This is about equal to the 145,896 non-citizens in adult correctional facilities in 2016. Since most criminals are repeat offenders, this continual mass deportation of non-citizen criminals means that the crime rate of non-citizens who come to the U.S. is much higher than those who remain in the U.S. Put another way, if the U.S. deported the same number of criminals as its entire prison population every year for a decade, the nation's crime rate would plummet. This is exactly what it does with non-citizens, and yet their incarceration rate is about the same as the general U.S. population. Second, the Post omits the fact that the incarceration rate of illegal immigrants is much higher than that of non-citizens. This is because roughly half of all non-citizens are legal immigrants who must pass a criminal background check in order to immigrate. Hence, these form a select pool of law-abiding people. The federal government doesn't isolate the incarceration rates of legal non-citizens, but the incarceration rate of immigrant citizens who must pass a full FBI background check is 79% lower than the general U.S. population. Mixing legal and illegal non-citizens into a single incarceration rate causes the low crime rates of the legal immigrants to obscure the high crime rates of the illegal immigrants. Near the end of its fact check, the Post quotes an author of a study who raises this point, but the Post dismisses that study as an outlier. Third, the Post omits the fact that illegal immigrants are more likely than the general population to get away with highly violent crimes like murder. Thus, their relative incarceration rate does not accurately reflect their criminality. This is because illegal immigrants are primarily from Latin America, and murders committed by racial minorities in the U.S. are less likely to be solved. In the minority-dominated sanctuary city of Chicago, for example, the portion of murders that resulted in a suspect being identified and acted upon by the criminal justice system was 17% in 2017, as compared to the nationwide average of 59%. Fourth, the Post omits the fact that data from the Social Security Administration, IRS, and Government Accountability Office show that most illegal immigrants engage in identity fraud and/or tax evasion. These are federal felonies punishable by up to 5 years in prison. As California Senate leader and Democrat Kevin De Leon admitted in 2017, anyone who has family members who are undocumented knows that almost entirely everybody has secured some sort of false identification. By using a patent falsehood and disregarding key facts, the Post paints a picture of illegal immigration and crime that is diametrically opposed to reality. Other media outlets have published articles that suffer from similar flaws. These include misrepresenting association as causation, cherry-picking timeframes that hide the full picture, employing bait-and-switch tactics, and using statistical techniques that are inappropriate to the data. In stark contrast to these sketchy studies, straightforward facts from credible primary sources prove that illegal immigrants are much more likely to commit serious imprisonable crimes than the general U.S. population. I'm Amanda Reed Sheik, here with Just Facts. For thorough documentation of every fact in this video and more facts about this issue, read the article "The Washington Post Grossly Understates the Crime Rate of Illegal Immigrants" at justfacts.com.